I'm Aaron Schwartz, one of the founders of Orita. I'm here with Sara Pereda, who so many of you will know from Smarterships and Rivo and just life and being joyful. We're going to talk about partnerships orgs and scaling community and everything. For those who don't know, Orita, we build AI customer segments for a bunch of Klaviyo's largest brands. We help them find a bunch of revenue. But today is not about us. It is about Sara. So Sara, let me get out of the way. Would love a proper background. You can gush about how nerve-wracking this interview is, or you can share your upbringing, wherever you want to take it, please.
It's very nerve-wracking. Thank you, Aaron. No, it's nice to get to talk to a friend and get to chat to all things. I have the strangest background. I think most people are like, you've had 40 million jobs, Sara. And I'm like, I really have. I started off in entertainment. I work in the nonprofit sector for a bit. Then I went back into entertainment, then moved to New York and continued that path until I realized I was like, oh, I feel like there's a lot. And I was always like an assistant, actually it was so fun. I got to see one of my old bosses from Miramax on the SAG-AFTRA Awards last night. And you see people in the audience you've worked with and you're like, this was so cool. So I was working for Disney in LA, moved to New York on a whim and worked for Miramax there. Have worked in music. I've worked for a famous musician like Sting, and then Regina Spektor was her personal assistant on tour. And then when I came back, a friend from church was like, I think you'd be great at business development. I'm like, don't you work in finance? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, don't you even work with hedge funds? And I'm like, I don't even know what a hedge fund is. She's like, don't worry, come interview. And I reluctantly did. And then was at 5 years as a director of business development at a global financial firm. And one was one of their top performers. And to the naysayers, the people who from Harvard who thought I couldn't learn the business or speak eloquently about your tax compliance or your AFMD requirements, this girl did it. And then when I thought about moving back from New York to LA, I transitioned back into entertainment, thought that I would want to do something like that, like a chief of staff. So I worked at Mattel, and then went to go support 2 HR business partners at Netflix. And then didn't love the culture as much as I thought I would. I was super excited to be there and ended up Mute 6, and D2C agency came and recruited me out of there, and they wanted to have someone who understood CRMs. And luckily I got to be a Salesforce admin and manage all of that for the financial firm. So got to come over, and that really started the journey in e-commerce. And I've been here now since 2019. So what is that? 7 years, going on 7 years, something like that. I don't know, 6 years, 7 years. So it's been great. And then did Mute 6 through the acquisition with Dentsu, and then went to Yotpo for 4 years. And now I'm here at the awesome Rivo. And so we are a global loyalty memberships and rewards or referrals platform. It's very exciting to be able to be in the retention space still and get to build something, which is really exciting from a global perspective.
I love it. Sara, I want to ask pull on a couple threads from your background. Yeah. One is like you came and you kind of mentioned HRBP, and you've done like some operation stuff and executive, like supporting execs, and you've kind of done a lot more. Things, yeah. Yeah. What are the like through lines that have helped you kind of as you build out partnerships? Because later on, we're going to tease out what is like great partnerships orgs look like, but what are the like behaviors you've learned, or like what is kind of inherent to you that maybe is kind of helping you thrive throughout?
I think there's a few things that I think it's why like I can kind of jump from all these different industries, but they're all still similar roles and skill sets that are required. One is organization is a key one. And I think a lot of people aren't necessarily super organized, communicative, right? That's another communication skill. So I love jumping into a problem. And it's one of the things I think like why people have hired me is like, I can see the chaos and then organize it and find the pathway to like make it clear for everyone. So even in whether that was at Yotpo or at Rivo or it's been at Mute 6, even if I look at that and go, okay, let me take a look and see where the gaps are, where there's no organization or streamline. How do we create processes that'll allow things to scale? And that even was at Netflix, a well-oiled machine that still needed, there was still structure that needed to be in place for some of the processes we were in. So it was great to get to work with colleagues to like figure out how to do that. Mattel the same way. I could even talk about at the talent agency. The other thing that I would say is I think I do this really well is stepping back and seeing the bigger picture and realizing that what I am, the conversation I'm having right here may not be what's really happening. And I feel like I've had this a lot with friends in the industry. I'm like, read the tea leaves, step back. What is this organization doing? Why do you think that this is happening? Like, it's not about you and this experience right here, but rather like what's happening in the macro environment that's affecting this decision making that's then coming down and trickling down here. If you figure that out, you can then make steps where it's not just one step forward, but you're looking at the grander scheme of things and figuring out what the pathway is. And I think that's actually aided me even in financial services when it got really murky of like navigating a lot of internal politics and WhatsApp groups and, acquisitions and, people figuring it out. It's like, well, so let me step back. Who's really in charge here? Where's the power? Where's the dynamic? What is the commoditized piece of business? Where's the industry going? If you can step back, if you're really good at stepping back and figuring that out, then you can find a pathway even in your individual role that I think has allowed me to really, I think,
Um, I was going to
exceed.
save this for later, but if we can just dive in a little bit on partnerships orgs, because like you are one of the best, right? Like you're obviously very thoughtful.
And obviously humble. I'm just kidding.
One of the most humble people I know. When you talk about the politics, when you talk about what's actually happening in the
Yeah.
conversation, there's one side, which is you're in the organization that you're in and you're like, oh, we have this goal, but what is the goal behind the goal or what's happening? But
Yeah.
there's another when you're in a partnerships position where you are looking at a different company. So Rivo and Orita or Rivo and Shopify, Rivo and Clivio, Rivo and
Right.
whoever you're partnering with. What do you think are some of the mistakes that partnerships people make when they're kind of looking across organizations or like, looking at a peer company that they should partner with, or how should they be thinking about the politics or the reality of their prospective partner or their actual partner
Yeah.
differently than they maybe are?
Where do I start? It has to be a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like, even if you are Shopify, it has to be a two-way street. And you guys know, I mean, everyone knows me, right? Like, I try to give first. Another one is to give first before receiving first. I try. Not all the times can that happen, but I try to do that because in the end, I think you'll understand that I'm not going to waste your time. And I understand how valuable your time is and our efforts. I'm also not going to waste your time asking you to be on a webinar when I know it's not going to do you or I any good if it's just about an organizational requirement. So I had one partner, a CEO, when I was at Yapo that from a different company that was demanding that we do all these go-to-market efforts, but it was a waste of everyone's time. Like no one was logging in. Who wants to be on another webinar? The things that they wanted to do, I was like, this is a waste of our time. Now I will unlock other things like give first, introductions, hustle internally to get you more time with the team, do things that I think are more creative that I think are worth your value, but you got to listen to the partnership. And it has to be a two-way street where the partnership has to go both ways. I'm going to do things that are checking off your box for your board. And that's where I think like a lot of people mistake that. And that happens on smaller scale and bigger scale. And so I think it has to be a really valuable partnership. That's one fold or one point. The other thing too that I think is really crucial is I think there has to be value on both ends. And I think that's where it's like, I try to be upfront with people. An example would be like, there are people that are like wanting to do like ebooks and things. And I said, hey, listen, we're a small organization here. I would love to partner with you at Rivo. We just can't. It's not like the resources I had when I was at other companies. So I'm not going to waste your time in doing this. I'm just going to say no upfront and tell you why and explain why. But say, listen, you want to do a dinner or you want an account map. I'm in that all day long and let's do it because I will drive you more revenue. And ultimately, it's about revenue. And I think some people think it's about relationship, and it is. But ultimately, our companies are wanting revenue. And I cannot be the partner person just showing up at all your events and not bringing in the revenue. Like, that's ultimately what I'm accountable for. And I think some people forget the sales piece of the partnership. They want to do the fun, they want to do the marketing efforts, they want to do the stuff. But you have to be hustling and have to be bringing in that revenue because then that unlocks a lot of other things. It's why when I tell a CEO of another company, I'm not doing something, but yet I'm one of your highest drivers of referrals, you'll now know why. I'm not going to waste your time. And this is why I'm telling you this up front because I'm going to drive value versus driving just who cares? Like, who cares?
There's so much there. I just want to double click on the comment about value kind of over content or like ticking boxes. I learned this years and years ago that there's some people in partnerships who everybody's like, oh my God, she's amazing. She's incredible. Can't believe it. And then you actually go inspect and you're like, oh, that person has driven zero pipeline. And you're like, the job is not to be liked. The job is to create value for the partner, etc. So yes. And I love something that
Hardest, by the way, that's the hardest referral because people will ask me, especially if they're in like smarterships and things, and people will say, oh my gosh, I've heard about this person. I'm like, let me tell you, they're so well liked, but what is your ultimate goal for this partner role? Are they partner marketing? Like, are they there? If you just want people to kind of be at the events and promoting and making awareness, great. If they're there to drive revenue, they may not be the right person. So that's also one.
Well, I actually I want to double click on that piece because you said, giving the example of the ebook, hey, we don't have the resources. The answer is no. But, and it sounds like what you will always try to do is figure out the places where you actually believe you can deeply create value. Are there other activities that, you kind of mentioned, like we can do account mapping. I can like try to go make warm intros, just kind of asynchronous, like do it on my own. Are there other recommendations that you have for the generic partner person or like other tactics that you find will work.
Yeah, there's a tool called Telephos. Joe and Adam Kane uh, built this tool. And what I love is it listens on Slack and on calls. Sorry, I should say on calls first. Slack can be secondary. They're building that right now for us. But it can listen on all the calls. So here's the thing. Here's what's the hardest thing. I remember this at Mute 6. It was so hard. We had 500 employees when I left. Like, all these team members um, on calls with clients, like listening all the time. If I am more powerful when I'm outbounding intros, because you're going to give me intros back, right? Like if I'm becoming one of your top partners and getting outbound intros to you, and by the way, I tell everyone, do multiple partners, always give out at least 2 referrals for every referral that a client is asking for, because you're going to be way more valuable and secure in a partnership when you do that. I don't care. Send it to us and Yapo. Send it to us and Loyalty Line. I don't care. Send it to both of us, because in the end, it's better for the consumer to be able to have, options. You look less biased. And also, I think it is better for the partnerships when they get a look and get to see, right? So it's a
Sarah,
better.
I just to interrupt for a sec, like with 3PLs where I used to refer out, I would always do 4 or 5. With agencies now, we do 4 or 5. And my perspective comes from running a brand for a while, which is like,
Yeah.
no 3PL is perfect, no agency is perfect. It's like, who's the right person or team or solution for you at that point? And so, yeah, couldn't agree more with make
Yeah.
many referrals.
You'd be surprised at how many times I'm referring people out to other partners that are competitive to us. But I'm like, hey, you're in great hands. You're not the right fit. And that you will be in a much better place if you stay with them, or here's why that this
Yeah.
partner might be better. But I also think it bodes well to the partnership of the person that you're getting that referral from, or helping, making sure they're getting the client is getting the good experience. What's going to go back to you is better, because that client is like, man, that partner thought I wasn't great, but they referred me to this other partner that you also did too. The other thing that I would say to you, and you want to get 2 referrals out. And this tool that I'll explain allows you to listen to all the calls, and it tells you the use case, and it says, hey, let's say Alex Lazoff, our CRO, was on a call with this brand, and they were talking about an ESP, and they're looking at, transitioning from an ESP over, and they mentioned this will be a great opportunity for blank, and it'll tell you the use case of who that you should refer out to. Is this a good opportunity? Yes or no? It'll ask the CSM, hey, can I send this intro out? I heard you're talking about it. Because CSMs, remember, they're on these calls, they're talking about partners. They are doing the work that we have trained them to do, or that they know, but there's just so much going on in the day to day. It's so hard for them to remember, oh, shoot, I got to get that intro out to Orita. Shoot, I got to get that intro out to, domain for this agency, whatever it might be, e-house. Like, it's so hard. But if you're the one that's reminding them, so this tool allows you to do that. Now it's a one-to-many approach, which I think in partnerships, people think, I got to manage it all. Like, I'm managing like over 300 relationships, like alone. And it's growing by the vast, like our EMEA and APAC, relationships. I mean, it keeps growing, and I'm the only person. I'm hoping to hire soon. Stuart, if you're listening, I need more hands. So I keep promoting, but most of our closed deals this past month in February, partner deals. So we're going to get there. I'm like, we're getting there. So I just say like more, but I don't have enough hands on deck. So how am I automating and doing things at scale? So one of the things I always say is like using tools like that to help you double the efforts. It's what I love about working at Rivo. It's been unlike any other company I've ever been at, because our founder, Stuart, is like, step back a second. Like, what are you doing that you could automate or get a tool that would allow you to double what you're doing? And I think the people, and everyone's all scared about AI, but I'm like, the people that use tools to double what their outbound performance is will be the ones that will thrive with AI, versus the ones that are thinking they're going to get replaced. You're going to get replaced if you're not using the tools to do it. So
I hear you. I also think one of the things you said, which is really astute, is like, if you can, your CSMs are in the room,
yeah.
they're talking to the customer. Their priority is to like wow the customer, delight the customer, right? Keep the customer, hopefully upsell the customer. But if you can enable them to understand, like you can make it easy for them to like be the referral mechanism out, you also are just amplifying the work.
Yeah, I think so. And it's like, it also allows them to see how that works. Like, remember, if we're still removed and you're doing it one by one, it's really hard, right? It's like, but I've watched how now our CSMs are like, well, thinking about partners. Hey, when I'm doing this, I know I used to hate lunch and learns, like people wouldn't come. I'm trying to strategically bring in partners that I think will be really resonating to what our team really could use in talking points. And I watched it click for them, being like, oh, they can double, like this brand has this issue. I can help them with this. And watching them perform, like there's one integration I'm super bullish on right now. And I'm like, I've been talking about it with everyone. In fact, Alex is like, do you have equity in this company? Because I swear you're selling it. But I was just like, this is the tool that's going to change loyalty in this year, right? So like, if you can excite them in ways in which I think is going to help these brands scale, the CSMs, the ops people. I'm having everyone join. I'm like, it doesn't matter what role you're in. You can learn here, and that's what makes you more valuable. And I also think you asked one question earlier, which was, what is a mistake or thing that people think? Okay, get
Uh,
this. Not being friendly with your competitors. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And here's why. I hate these stupid Twitter wars, LinkedIn wars. I don't care. You'll see me, and everyone knows this is why I say Smarter Ships. I created it so we can all come into the room. Ask James at Rivo about our conversation when I was at Yapo previously. Like, we even had a good conversation when we were talking competitive set. But the reason I say this is have good relationships, because you never know where someone goes. And
yeah.
in the end, the tech should speak for itself. I don't have to battle out with anyone. I don't care. I hate all these tech wars. You'll never see me in it. I hate it so much. And here's why. And we was even talking with some of our competitive set at the Smarter Ships e-tail party, because get this, and Heather, I think you say it. She was at Stamped before. We've always been friendlies, right? I was at Yapo previously. She's now my partner manager at Attentive, and we're working close together. Imagine if I came at her at a LinkedIn message and went off. Do you think she's going to help me at my next role? It's not about that, but I think it's about relationship building. And I think we just take tech wars too personally. Again, I'm not a CEO. I do not have ownership over this. But I think there's a way to be working together and not at each other, and let the product speak for itself. And product should make product better with each other, right? So if it's good product, we shouldn't have to fight each other on LinkedIn. Love it.
Sarah, you could be a therapist next. This has happened a couple times lately where people who I was with have like started doing products that are like not what we do. Nobody competes with what we do. We like do something really hard and really differentiated, and we're like very narrow to read it. We do like AI customer segmentation. We are fixing your whole system, and there are all these amazing tools, and I present them as amazing tools because they're amazing. Oh, let us go do some optimization, or we'll figure out your flows, or hey, Sarah gets this discount, Aaron gets this, Sarah gets this a lifestyle image, Aaron gets a product image. It is like incredible technology. And the reality is like, we will help you build your like top of funnel and get you more bats, and other people help you convert.
Yeah.
And now all these tools are starting to move up and like say they kind of do what we do, but they don't. But they're like, well, we're all competing for the same budget. And I'm like, guys, it's a huge market. And it actually like hurts me. And I feel sad is my first emotion, which I think I maybe might just be a child, but I'm like, wait, what? There's like a huge market, and like, I'm trying to help you guys. And now you're like slowly nibbling at like what we do, but you don't do what we do, but you're creating confusion in the market. And it is very confusing. So anyway, I don't get into Twitter wars or LinkedIn wars. I just like, this is not worth anybody's time.
I hate it.
But I appreciate your perspective on this one.
I hate it. And it's a lot of noise. And then I think also half the people like in partnerships that start that noise.
Yeah.
I don't see them in deal flow. I don't work with them.
No.
Like,
I don't.
I laugh because half these people building their profiles on LinkedIn don't
Yeah.
actually do the work, and half of us talk shit about them.
Versus some of us have podcasts and we're doing it. No, okay. Wait, so we went so deep immediately into partnerships, which I love so much.
Listen, go deeper, go home.
No, this is good. I actually want to talk, because you mentioned smarter ships. I want to go back into smarter ships, and we'll jump into Rivo again. But like, you started this community, and again, like I've been in this ecosystem. I started a brand in 2010. Like I've been doing commerce, whatever. And at some point I heard your name, and then Megan introduced us, and I was just like, holy mackerel. Like, this woman is brilliant and knows everything.
Our first meeting was real interesting.
We can do it. We discussed it. But like, it was one of those things where I'm just like, okay, we haven't had this discussion explicitly, but like everything you're saying right now, I'm nodding with. I'm like, refer to many people. Revenue and like driving value is what matters. Maintain really good relationships because it's a small community. Also, just like help because it's a small community. And I see you've actually built a community around these principles and then some. What was the genesis behind Smarter Ships? And then I do want to tease out like, what are some of the things you've learned? But yeah, just take it from the top.
I think I'll step back for a second and go with like my faith values really do align with what Smarter Ship is, which is just like giving to others. Like I wanted to figure out what I call it ministry places of just being a Christian and wanting to give back. And so part of it is like, okay, I love building community. I want to help people. So if I'm looking at this from that perspective, that's where this ultimately all comes from, is like, God's been good to me. I want to be good to others. So if you see that and you stand back for a second and go, okay, Smarter Ships, like it started with like even just small things, like people were texting, emailing, LinkedIn messaging, like, plus, by the way, don't text me. If we're not making brunch plans on the weekend, I don't want a text from you. There's Slack, there's LinkedIn, there's email. Now, if we are good friends, different story, but I get the craziest texts on like a Friday night or Saturday morning, and I'm like, it is not work time. So I was like, let's create a Slack community. Adina Maravi was leaving. She was going to Okendo, leaving Mute 6. I was taking over partnerships, and I thought, okay, this is a prime time to do it. So created this like monthly gathering, which was in person, keeping top of mind each other. I found that that was a lack too. There was like, there was things that were happening, but it was before COVID, but it still, or wait, was it after COVID or before COVID? I can't remember when we started. It's been so like mind warp of it. So it was regular gatherings to keep top of mind. And then it was a Slack community, and it started off for free. It was free for 3 years. It grew to an insane amount of people. People just kept spreading the word because I think it was, hey, do you need an introduction to someone? To someone at Shopify? To someone know someone at Klaviyo? Yep, I got you. Here's this person. Reach out to them. Tell them I sent you. Like, it was the short code of your job, and it wasn't to reinvent the wheel, but to make it an easier traction. I did this in finance. I did the exact same thing. I had a women's group that I still get to meet with when I go into New York. But it was the same thing. We would come together to lunch on a monthly basis. We'd bring our lists of all of our funds that we're forming. Does anyone know who's doing this? Who's on this one? What law firm's on this one? Hey, can you introduce me? And we would just do that. And so we started doing it in Slack. And it was just like, how do we do this? And so it's been an incredible community. We're now forming 3 new cities. So now we'll be at like 28 global cities. Like, it's kind of insane how it's grown. But it was just everyone being like, raising my hand, being like, oh, I'll add someone. And we did turn into a paid community. And the reason that we turned into a paid community, so it went for 3.5 years free. Adina, myself, and then Megan jumped on to manage it as well from New York perspective, was that we just wanted to, part of communities to charge a lot more, and we get a lot more value here. I just wanted people to have skin in the game so that they felt like they were getting something out of it. But I also wanted to lessen the noise, and I wanted people to leave that were not going to be committed to the community. I was okay with it being 60 people if it was 60 people. I don't care. And we're around like 607. Not everyone pays. Groups that have sponsored over the years with us, we're really grateful for those partnerships, because it allows us to do these really large events that I could not afford on my own. And I was sponsoring a lot of the stuff for free before on my own personal money. So It's been an incredible community. I've watched so many people get jobs after the Shopify layoff. There's now a ton of people in the community. BigCommerce did a layoff too. Everyone jumps in. We give them a free membership for 6 months. So it's been incredible. And now we've already gotten 3 people's jobs in the community since just those layoffs. So like, I would say overall, we probably gotten around 49 to like 54 people jobs throughout the time of our tenure. And we've never taken any kind of share from that. I should have. This could have paid off my egg freezing debt. It's a whole nother story, but at least, I could have been a recruiter over here at this point, but we haven't taken any money from that. So I just want to tell everyone that. So it's been
I think it's a really beautiful community. I love what you're doing in terms of just making it easy for folks to enter. It is not expensive, certainly not relative to like, it's not that everybody can afford it, right? But like relative to the value you get, it is an extraordinary, really like positive, like great deal for you.
When people say they don't get value, I always say, what did you give? What kind of value did you give? Because that tells me what you get out. If you give, you get out.
It's a really good point. I mean, you and I have talked about this separately. We won't discuss it, but like one of the benefits of being in the community is you get access to all these events, and even just you don't get access like, oh, okay, you can go to anything, but you get awareness. And I know there are some other communities that have taken that and then shared it. And it's like, God, this is a like one core asset for Smarterships. I think the like giving before you get it is clearly a through line in your life and also in your work. And it's something I deeply appreciate about Smarterships. Do you have any ambitions for the organization, or is it like, hey, we just want to keep growing? Is it you would expand beyond commerce? Is it,
no.
I don't know, what's next? No. How do you think about it?
Here's the thing. I've been asked, so many people have asked to buy Smarterships.
No. Interesting.
I get reach outs all the time, and like legitimate reach outs. And I'm like, no, because this is a community give back. Like, I'm not here to make all this money and like turn it into some shitty community. Sorry, I don't know if you can say that on there. Like all these people hawking sponsorships and all. I hate it all. I hate all that, because you know why? In the end, it runs down the value. You lose the community. And I'll do this until maybe I change paths. Maybe, I don't know, whatever happens in life. I don't know. Maybe somehow Rivo hits a certain amount and like, I don't know what that looks like. But for me, I'm like, it is a give back community and it is a passion. And I would hate for that to change based off of like what I call greed of just being like, oh, it's out for me. And again, that is not to say that won't ever happen. Who knows what this world will look like? But I also say like, I don't want to make it more than it is. This is I always tell people it's e-commerce only. It is for people in partnerships now. I have founders of agencies. I have founders of tech companies in there. And it's so funny because all the agencies are like, oh, I'm sure I'm the hottest community, like hottest market in there. And I'm like, actually, no, you guys are actually the ones asking for tech like introductions more than anyone else. So it's really interesting because people thought, oh, agencies are like hounded in there. It's like, no, that's actually the opposite. I actually think the tech partners are the ones being sought after the most, which is really interesting. But I just see it as like, I just want to grow and help people. If that keeps growing globally and we have these chapters, then great. Like, The next one is in like, Finland, Helsinki. They want to start up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like it's just growing. And I'm just enabling people. I'm like, great, here's how here's how you're started. Here's how we grow this. And it has to be unique to every city and country. So it looks different in every place. Love that. I just want to support, and this infrastructure helps to do that. And my goal is not to get out of e-commerce. Like because it's hard. You can grow and be outside of it. There's other partner organizations that do that. Like I think Partner Leaders does that really well. Great. I always tell people, if you're looking for education, go there. If you're looking for that kind of structure, they're amazing. They run a big conference. They're the people to go to. We are not that. We are boots on the ground, one-on-one, like connecting. I'm not going to educate new folks. I would love that. Reach out and mentor yourself. Like it's so great to be a part of that. But like if you want to get mentored, go out. I meet with Martin Body every so often. I pick his brain about stuff. He started partnerships at Shopify. He's now at Rise as a CRO. But like I just sought out my own mentorship.
Yeah.
I don't need. That's what I would hope people do. That's the one thing I think people don't do well too. When they're out of a job, I have been amazed at the partnership people who don't use their network. And I'm like, or people will ask me about them. And I'm like, if I don't know them, that means that they haven't been in it. Like you got to be in it. So that's also something too that I've seen that I just haven't seen done well. So we want to stay really what we are.
Like, the Sara ranking is, you're great. I haven't seen you. I've seen you and you're not great. And so like, there's
Pretty
like, you got to be careful on that one.
And I'll be honest with people. Like
know.
The thing is, when I recommend you, I will wholeheartedly recommend you. I will do it one time. And if you burn me, I'll never do it again. Which people also know that too. I'm very straight up. And I would hope you'd be the same way. Like if I mess something up, tell me, and I'm open to feedback and stuff. But like you guys, anyone who knows me, I will like literally give. And it's like, but again, you burn me once, you get one off.
Sarah, if I ever come close to crossing you, just let me know. I don't want to. I'm so sorry.
It's not that. I don't like to cut people, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of. And I think I give a lot. So
No, I get it. I very, very, very much get it. Actually, I want to talk just for a couple of minutes about like the different types of partnerships, right?
Yeah.
And maybe we can do it from a tech company lens.
Yeah.
Because you get asked to co-sponsor or do integrations or whatever. How do you think about the different tiers? It's like, hey, friend of, and like, I'll do a favor. Or there's actually like a cool B2B relationship that we can have where we can support each other. Or actually this merits an integration. Like, do you have any principles that you kind of run people through?
Yeah. Crossbeam.
Okay.
I look at that as my first. So I do, we got to qualify things too. Cause I'm like, I can only do so much. So I don't want to do okay, no offense. Sorry to all the companies that do this. These tiering, like BS of having you get to certain tiers. Because here's the thing, you may give me one referral that may be a massive referral or a massive referral for you. And you shouldn't be deterred to not be in a certain tier because based off of your size of volume or your size of client, you may be literally all you can do and do that. And I remember that lens on Mute 6 side, because I have both lenses, agency and tech. I was managing in a spreadsheet, like, oh my God, like an insane amount of partners and trying to capitalize. Everyone wanted our goodies because at the time Mute 6 was really at its peak, and just we had scaled so many amazing brands. I remember referring all these brands to then Yapo, which then I worked with them there. And then I've worked with them now at Rivo and like watch the scaling. And so I've seen it on this side and also seen on the tech side. I look at it and go, okay, Crossbeam will help me basically qualify my give there a lot of times. So I look and go, hey, if we have like one overlap, I can't give all these resources for one overlap. Or I look at their prospect list and my prospect list against their customer list. And again, if it's super small, probably can't. Now, if there's a large customer of ours that is looking for this integration, absolutely. We have open APIs. We have all these resources available. I'll start up a Slack channel. I'll get you all the resources you need. I also drop down product updates every 3 weeks automated. So like you're still getting into the partnership, but I'm just not heavy lifting on the integration side. I'm like, here, build it. All these resources, when it's live, let us know. We'll post it on our site. So we can do that if they want to build. We're just not going to invest if it doesn't make sense on an overlap perspective. So I try to tell them up front, here's how we manage. I have like a automated email that I send to people that ask for these things. So it's less time on me and less time on our COO, James, who's incredible, but only has so much time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the automation piece is really important. You've kind of mentioned that, even the fact that you have like every couple of weeks you have a product update or what's going on. And then
I need to get better at that too, even to have time to do that. It's like, it's consistent, but it hasn't been as consistent since we've been in conference season.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, you're better than every other partner I interact with. You're certainly better than we are. So it is cool to see. But again, like this is the second or third time in the conversation already that you've kind of surfaced being clear being like, hey, look, we can't do that, but you can, and here's exactly how to do
Yep.
it. Or this isn't a fit. I deeply appreciate that. As you think about kind of going out and building more partnerships yourself, and you kind of mentioned you're going into EMEA, APAC, right?
Yeah.
But you're still a team of one. How do you prioritize your time to go figure out, are you building net new? Or are you trying to deepen with existing? What are the trade-offs that you're making explicitly or implicitly?
Really great question. I'm still learning as I go. This is why I wanted to come to Rivo. It was like, great. You come from a really well-oiled partner machine when you're at other places, a lot of resources. And this is gonna be the first time where I get to build from the ground up, which is very exciting and also overwhelming and stressful all in one. But I still love it. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And so I looked at it and was like, okay, and Alex, who's our CRO that also kind of helps with partnership somewhat, but is also in sales, we kind of stand back and we're like, okay, well, we looked at the calendar, we figured out what we're going to sponsor for the year. In other places, we're doing a trip in APAC, but we're like, okay, where do we want to double down this year? Where's the deal flow coming from? It is a longer tail game. So I'll be honest, like it's kind of surprising. A lot of stuff I was building from basically like I traveled a bit, really started, I would say like end of July. Okay. So started end of July here at Rivo. It took me almost kind of 6 months. I'm now seeing all the fruit of the labor coming in, which has been great. Like great for my paycheck too. Great. But it's been great coming in. But that took like 6 months and I thought it would be less of a ramp. Like transparently, I was like, okay, I'm going to do all this. I already know I can see the lane. But I think sometimes getting people to like, just you got to keep consistent. So now that I've seen that, I'm like, all right, I kind of know what's working. I think I call it Rivo Reveals. I drop it every 3 weeks. New logos that have signed, new product updates, new events, like the 3 eyes of sales. Okay. If anyone is listening to anything I'm saying right here, to 3 eyes of sales, my old boss, Kathleen, taught me this and I've brought it into every relationship. And I think it's done well for me. An introduction, information, invitation. If you're always doing one of those 3, I promise you'll always be crushing it with any partnership, relationship, client, whatever. And she would make us put it in our Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever CRM we're using. We were using Dynamics at the time. What our I was going to be for that week, for that deal or that relationship. And I need to be better about that because even when I look at scale, I'm like, okay, so I'm using Lasso now as our new PRM. It is so clear. It tells me who my top performing partners are. Tushar's done an incredible job about like feeding the info back and forth and really having a good look at where we are the partnership lens. And then that can help you like prioritization a little bit about where the deal flow is coming from and breaking up by markets. And then from there, I'm also then going, okay, now I look at Crossbeam. I'm also building something with Claude, trying to be like, okay, how do I triangulate this to tell me like Crossbeam mixed with that to tell me who I should be focusing in on for ICP for future state of like all the top brands we want to do. And that will then inform from a tech partner perspective. So I tell agencies, Crossbeam is not dead. If you need help, I'll help you. Like I have helped so many agencies fix their Crossbeam in the ground because all of us tech partners are using that to figure out who we're going to double down on. And if you think it's not a tool, it's so easy. It's free to use. Don't tell me you have to pay for it just to put your client list. Just put your client list in. That's how they prioritize who you're going to work with. Like help them help you. So
This is
that's
great.
I'm a big fan of the tool. I mean,
You,
I know
you,
they should pay
you
me
can't
too.
resist getting into the tactical, which I deeply appreciate. And you kind of mentioned in passing, but the other tool is called Lasso, right?
Yeah, well, it's a
Building system.
PRM. Yeah, there are a couple of them out there. Greg Pointer has another one called Euler, another great tool. We are just on with Lasso, and so it automates rev share. You want to find a tool that automates these things. We both do again, so I will say that both do that.
Yeah.
We've automated this, and it's great. It's a great tool. It's integrated with our HubSpot. There's even like now some Slack automations coming out. There's a bunch of things that are helping automate it for one person like myself to be able to do it and do rev share much easier and faster. Pulled it out to everyone, and it's been a really great really great feedback so far. So that's been great, easy to log in. Everyone can see transparently where your deal flow is by stages, what they've signed on for us with. So there's no questions on that, which I think is really helpful, especially if you're learning to see who the team is too. We can also do it on CSMs too.
Okay. I think for a last thread, I'd love to talk a little bit more about Rivo. If
Yeah,
that's okay. I've actually never gotten to speak to you more specifically. We always talk about partnerships or just like bumping into.
officially.
Yeah. What brands is Rivo good for? Like walk me through a high level. And then I have a
Yeah.
couple follow-ups I want to ask. I'm not going to try to grill you on this, but like help me understand like what is the use case for Rivo?
Yeah. So I would say Rivo is Shopify's best kept secret. In that it's so funny because I literally was talking with someone at Shopify, like I've never heard of it. And I was like, we're your best kept secret. That's why. So it came on the market about 3 years and some change ago. We have Shopify's like largest membership programs on our platform.
Yes.
We have a lot of brands. So think of us in, I call it 3 buckets. Okay. So first bucket is Rivo accounts. So so it's Shopify accounts, but way more robust, way more flexible, a lot more customizable and really, really great. Like I would say fully customizable. So like I know that Klaviyo also has their accounts experience. We have a really great, robust experience as well. We keep
Mm.
people logged in longer.
Mm.
And I would say both Shopify accounts and Klaviyo, so that's something to keep in mind. But a lot of the folks that were with status transitioned over. So that's how we got kind of really into the market with
I was an
accounts.
investor in Status. I love
Yeah.
Status.
And listen, it was a great
What a
tool. It
great
was needed.
product.
Look at where Shopify is going. It makes sense.
Spot on.
Having people logged in to know that they have a loyalty program where they can manage everything in one place,
Yeah.
like subscription, returns, where your status of, I mean, literally like one of my favorite brands needs to have this, a better experience. I use it all the time, but like tracking stuff in there was a clunky experience on their membership side. So I hope they can come and talk to us, please feel free. But I would say it's a really great experience on that side. There's this other column, it's loyalty, referrals, and memberships. So really great brands that use and trust us. Lots of, I would say, be all the way to enterprise. And we've really worked really hard. So like, you have like I call them the D2C darlings, like the True Classic, the Ridge, the Osea, Fenty, Tucker Nuck is on with us. I would say there's been really great ones. G Fuel's coming over. A lot of really great brands that have said, this is a great product. Because why? Because we're integrated in Shopify markets, which is why we're crushing it over in EMEA and in APAC and other countries where you need that translation. You need to be able to get out in those currencies. So markets, themes, flows, checkout extensions, public APIs, integrations across the board. And we're one of Klaviyo's top premier partners. Even though we compete somewhat on the accounts, we don't care. We're like, take someone's accounts because you need it. Like you need to have a logged in estate. But we're able to really give that experience and be one of those premier partners with them. And I would say, honestly, more integrations, more loyalty integrations out there than any of them, and more newer loyalty integrations out there on the product side. And I think we'll still keep crushing that side for a bit longer. And then as well as, I would also say we're month-to-month contracts, no annual commits. So if you're stuck in this long contract, but our proof is in the pudding, we have very little churn. And listen, churn happens, but we have very little churn.
Yeah.
I think that is a testament to the product. I can't keep up with the product updates. I'm literally building a tool to try to help because Stuart and team are just pumping out product updates.
So Sarah, this is actually the place I want to go. You have a lot of information internally. You need to understand yourself. You also need to educate your partners. You also need to, your surface area is broad. So there are some partners like Orita might be a good partner for some things, but not for other things. So I want to actually go back to you in the partner seat now. You kind of talked a little bit before about automation. Is there anything else you're doing to kind of enable your partners that you think is, you've kind of learned from this new fire hose of training that you need to do?
Yeah. So again, the only thing I can think of right now that's been really working well is that Rivo reveals where I can drop down these product updates. So what I try to do is think about from their lens, what would be the top, I separate out, I change up tech and agency. So what would be valuable for agency might not be as valuable for tech and vice versa. So I try to separate them and change it up as much as I can. Our competitors even get this update, by the way. So like for an example, we love Skio, their membership program, but they also have a loyalty program. Give them the updates because we are building publicly. No one's hiding anything. We're not gating anything. If your product is that good, what we say is bring it on. And I bet you will probably still beat it out. So I just joke around, but I'm like, I don't make the product, but I try to keep up with it. Right. So I'm amazed at the amount of product updates that are turning and also the reduction of product tickets. So for example, the reason sometimes you need a CSM in a lot of these tech companies is because there's a lot of tickets that have to happen because the product is a little challenging for different various things. With us, that kind of has been eliminated. So our founder eliminated 90% of our tickets back in December. That was what he's working on. So I was like, Stuart, I need this, and this. And he's like, it's coming, but let me eliminate all of this other stuff. And he did, and it's incredible. So now that we've eliminated the stuff, now it's just more product features coming out and updates, which I love. I'm like, watching a company build like this is just, I have such a unique seat. Now, my challenge is I'm asking our team like, okay, what does this mean? Or did agencies have this before? What about our competitive set? Did they have that? So I'm using a couple of my colleagues to help me, but then I'm also now building a tool. This is like what I'm literally going to do today. Because after I came back from retail, I was like, all right, I got to get this out. I got to get Rivo Reveals out. So I'm building this tool where it'll summarize it for me and in my lens, because now we built the tool where it's Sarah voice. So it's taken all my emails, all my Slacks, and now it's built my own voice. So then I can update all of the content there, but also I can learn. So I'm constantly meeting with our team being like, I don't understand this. Can you show this to me? Our metrics, our MCP that's coming out, watch out, game changing. Like we're building in with Bloomreach too on their MCP. Like I'm just learning a lot where I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. Like the fact that we could type out and it'll build a flow for someone. Like half the answers of the questions I answer will be answered with our MCP that we're super excited to have come out. So we're in beta right now. And I'm like, I can't wait for that to come out because that'll also help me. I can
Mhm.
ask questions about our own product too. So it's keeping up with that I think is a challenge, especially as a one person team, and also learning from a lens of like what's important from an agency perspective versus the perspective. So it is a to be determined, to be announced. We could pick this conversation back up in 6 months and we'll see how
Mhm.
that goes. But I love that I'm getting to learn in this seat and figure out like how to get that info out. I'm gonna probably start doing videos to try to help distill some of this too, because I think that's also helpful. Like I remember Sarah Kang when she was at Aftership, she's now at Gorgeous, but she did this really great video kind of summarizing here's the thing, summarizing some of the product updates. And I thought that was so great because I was like, I would rather watch a video than read through your help
Yeah.
desk, your like your article, who cares? We now have an automated our help articles are being updated automatically now via all the conversations in Slack and all the things
Oh,
we're
that's
doing.
cool.
It's so cool. Right now, also, what's amazing,
Do you
and
know
this
what
is
tool you guys use for that? Because we've been talking about one.
great thing. Ask Stuart on Twitter; he'll tell you. He's all
Right.
open and publicly building, but it's incredible what
Cool.
it's doing. And then also the other thing that I love. I hope I'm not revealing any like company secrets. I don't think I am, but I'm just joking around. But what's great about this is, let's say you as a tech partner have some like a piece that you want to enable, or you have an idea for product, an agency has an idea for product with a brand. I'm now able to open a linear ticket. I drop it in, and then it starts building. It's already building in the background. And then like Stuart and team are validating. And then I see 3-4 days later, think tickets that people built, like put in like last week are being like pushed out. It is unreal, like unreal. I've seen it. And it's like, they're just validating so it doesn't break the system. But like updates that partners and, brands want are just, it's coming out in like 2 or 3 days. It would have taken me 6 to 8 months on a roadmap at
Uh-huh.
previous places, and it's coming out that fast. I just think the industry and the environment has changed so much. So what I love is we're in a really creative time. When were you as a kid allowed to like dream? And like we're being challenged all the time, step back and dream and like what is possible. And I'm at a place where I have freedom to do that. And I'm very grateful to be in a place where I can just dream and figure that out. Whereas it was harder when you're in a large,
Mm.
and I don't, by the way, this is not a knock on any larger company. It's just
Mm.
harder. You can't change, you can't move the ship fast enough. So it's not on anyone. It's more just like, I'm in a place right now where it's really creative, really interesting. Um, and I think in the next like quarter, even what will change, because I think about what has changed even since I had my initial conversations with our CEO in the fall about here's what I need and here's what's coming out, and then seeing that and now seeing how we've even changed internally as a company, it's pretty exciting.
Don't forget, you're going to lose 4 days for Shop Talk, so a quarter plus a week maybe, but it'll happen.
Listen, but I mean, even at eTel, I was still closing deals and still
There it is.
moving, was able to do it. Now,
Good.
granted, my Slack is flooded and I've been apologizing to everyone. I wish Slack had a better out of office option because, like, I put in my profile, I have the like emoji,
I'm
and
just
still
going to
people are blowing up.
text you on Friday nights,
Yeah,
Slack you
thanks.
every day, though. This is good.
Listen,
Sarah, your like joy and excitement about what's happening is always very present, but it's like overflowing right now, which I love. Thank you. I mean, I tagged a bunch of this. It's like I need to go back and reread and re-listen. So I appreciate this. I took a bunch of notes
yeah,
here. I do want to create a little space at the end. If you shared so many good insights, but if there's any other like big takeaway or one or two things, it doesn't have to be big, but anything else you want to share or anything you said that you want to double click on, and then
yeah,
I'd love for you to end with like, where can folks find you, or if you have a call to
yeah.
action for Rivo or Smarterships, obviously, please share.
Great. I think the thing that is gonna look our industry is gonna drastically change in the next year. Whether we like it or not, it's coming,
Mm.
and it's been coming, and we've been saying it. I think there's been more and more, uh, you know, downsizing, changes. I think we'll see a lot more changes that additions that I'm sure we'll be shocked about in the summer too, and those types of things. But what I would say is that if you are a partner manager and you are not scaling what you're doing and getting creative at what you're doing, or if you're looking for your new role, you have to be so invaluable and utilize your network. And I think a lot of people aren't doing that well right now, or they're not being strategic in what they're asking people to do. And we have very limited resources now. I've even noticed too, like it's harder to find cash around to sponsor things. Like now I have to be more proactive and forward thinking, and like I'm already like getting sponsors for the gala next year. You know what I mean? I'm having to think about things really ahead than I ever did before. It's why we actually want to do like a Smarter Ships retreat come in September so we can plan then for 2027, because we did it too late this year. So we're going to get people away in Mexico to do that, pending everything going on. But what I would say is, you know, you have to do things a lot earlier now than we used to. And I also think you have to be more strategic in what you're asking. The same old playbook is not working. These bros that are on LinkedIn teaching you about same old playbook, not working. And they also are not the people actually doing the job. Sorry. And I can name a few, and that's a whole nother tea session. But a lot of these guys on LinkedIn that are touting these old ways of doing partnerships, it doesn't work. So what are the new ways? How are you being invaluable to people? How are you doing the 3 I's? How are you helping others? Because that always gives back. And then what are you doing within your company that's scaling what you're doing, even with very little resources? You got to think that way because it's about revenue. It's not about relationships, unfortunately, right now with a lot of what's happening. So how can you do both? And I think there's a way to do both. So I would say if you're not doing that, do that. If you are not at Smarterships, join. It's just smarterships.co. We have our events sheet for Shop Talk. I hope people are putting all their events in, but it's that $30 is worth it. And I only do a yearly plan now. So don't be asking me for quarterly or monthly things. Guys, it's $30 a month. Pay for it yourself. If your company doesn't pay for it, we have justification on there. If it doesn't, it is worth every penny for you to just have a short code for your job. And if you are looking for a retention, experience, we'd love to talk to you at Rivo. You'll see all the brands on our site. Pretty incredible. And we'd love to have a conversation. We'll even buy out contracts. That's my last pitch.
Oh, I like it. And just to be clear, if you have a choice between talking to Lazoff or Sarah, you talk to Sarah.
It's true. It's not that Lazoff wouldn't talk to you. It's just that, come on, help a partnership person out.
Yeah, it's like
That's
Sarah.
another one. Don't send it to the
Sarah Lazoff.
partnership. People are doing that.
Okay. Sarah, thank you. This was awesome. You are an extraordinarily generous person. You gave a ton of insights here. Obviously the e-commerce community is just so lucky to have you, and I am too. So thank you. I appreciate all the tips and advice as always.
You're the best. Thank you so much for the time, and hopefully someone got something out of this.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Aaron Schwartz, co-founder and co-CEO of Orita.ai. We build AI customer segmentation for some of Klaviyo's biggest brands like Oriana, Spanx, Caraway, Third Love, True Classic, Run Beauty, and on and on. Brands come to us to help find untapped revenue, improve their click rate, drive away mean bots, and a bunch more. You can learn more or get a free customer engagement audit at Orita.ai.